Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about biomolecules, part 2, monomers, carbs, and lipids. Monomers versus polymers. For each of the 4 biomolecules that we'll be learning about, there will be a different monomer which will act as the building block for the more complex polymers, as well as being its own biomolecule. Monomers are smaller biomolecules which act as the building block for the more complex and bigger biomolecules called polymers. Carbohydrates. The main function of carbs is to give us short-term energy and give us short-term energy storage, but it can also do some other things too. Most of our carbohydrates come from bread, potatoes, and other grains and plants. This type of monomer that makes up the polymers of this type of biomolecule are called monosaccharides, the suffix of which is actually the root word of sugar. Some examples of monosaccharides are fructose, glucose, and galactose. And the polymer of this biomolecule is called polysaccharides. Monosaccharides are created using only the atoms of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. These atoms are always in a ratio of 1 to 1 to 2, respectively. Lipids. Lipids are fats and oils which are generally used for long-term energy storage. There are different types of fats such as triglycerides, unsaturated and saturated fats, and phospholipids. So for example, we have a saturated fatty acid at the top, and you'll see that the saturated fatty acid is saturated with hydrogen, and this makes it so that the hydrogen are all packed closely together in a large hydrocarbon chain. Whereas in the unsaturated fatty acid, you see that in the hydrocarbon chain, there's actually a carbon which is double bonded. And so because of that, not as many hydrogen molecules can go inside. And therefore, it's unsaturated with hydrogen. Now, this is a triglyceride. A triglyceride is when 3 unsaturated or saturated fatty acids come together and bond together to create 3 large hydrocarbon chains, and they're all bonded together. And this is called a triglyceride. And over here, you'll see that we have a phospholipid. A phospholipid is just like a triglyceride, except that instead of 3, there are only 2 hydrocarbon chains, and the one extra hydrocarbon chain is replaced with a hydrophobic center. And you'll see that this is what makes cell membranes. So, at the left, you'll see the actual chemical formula and structure of a phospholipid, and at the right, you'll see that this is how they create large cell membranes, because they make one big wall because they form together so that the hydrophilic section is pointed towards each other, and then the hydrophobic section is pointed outwards, creating a membrane. And this is called a lipid bilayer. Goodbye, and I hope you liked this video.